Hello, and welcome to the Ultimate Stress Management Toolkit. Today I'm going to teach you practical steps that you can use starting today to manage your stress once and for all. Before I do, I'm Dr. Chelsea Eilts. I go by Hermione ND on YouTube, where I alchemize cutting-edge health sciences with ancient wisdom so that you can transform your health and re-inspire your life. Did you know that from day to day, 90% of the thoughts that you think are the same from day to day, and 80% of those thoughts are negative? Most of the time we think, because we can't see stress, that it's invisible and it's something we can just push through, that we need to put away somewhere or stuff deep down so that we can do. But I'm here to tell you, as a functional health expert, stress is chemical. Every time you have a stressful thought, chemicals are released in your brain and your body, neurotransmitters and hormones, that affect the health of your body and can throw off your energy, your metabolism, and your hormone balance. Today, I really want to highlight for you the 3 major systems of the body that control your health and point out how they relate to stress. So here we can see the 3 major systems are the nervous system, the immune system, and the hormonal system. And every time we have a stressful thought, all 3 of these systems are impacted. And within these 3 systems actually exist within the conscious mind. So everything that happens in the conscious mind, your thoughts and your beliefs, impact all 3 of these systems in a very real and measurable way. Now today we're particularly going to focus in on the impact of your thoughts and beliefs, your stress, on the nervous system, but know that they all feed into each other. So if there's something going on with the immune system, it can affect your nervous system and cause stress. If there's something going on with your hormonal system, again, it can affect your nervous system and cause stress. But stress can also throw off your immune system and throw off your hormonal system, and that's particularly the relationship that we're focused on here. Next, I want to show you how the nervous system is involved with stress, and when you think stressful thoughts, exactly what's happening inside your nervous system. There are 3 states that your nervous system exists in during your day. State number 1, you feel safe. When you feel safe, you're engaged in your environment, you want to talk with people, you feel pretty good. If something comes along that causes you to stress, the nervous system then becomes activated, where you start scanning your environment for threats, or you decide if you need to handle a problem or a situation. If, however, the problem's so big that you feel like you cannot handle it or you cannot survive, the nervous system then goes into a state of overwhelm. This idea comes from polyvagal theory. So if it's resonating with you, that's always something you can learn a bit more about. There's tons of information, and this is well established that truly our vagus nerve, which is one of the largest nerves in the body, is primarily responsible for what we call rest and digest functions. Our ability to sleep, digest our food appropriately, and reproduce, have a healthy libido, and have interest in engaging in reproduction. When, however, we are faced with a threat, the body goes into the fight, flight, and freeze side of the nervous system. Rest and digest is our parasympathetic nervous system, whereas the fight and flight comes into the sympathetic nervous system. And we can use polyvagal theory as a way of understanding in order to bring us back from fight or flight. We can work with the nerves, we can work with the body to help stimulate that more rest and digest side of things. And we can also focus and see where we might be triggering our fight and flight response inappropriately. So a healthy system has balance between these 2 things. Of course, when it's time to sit down and eat or it's time to go to bed, you're able to do that. But we know if you're having trouble with sleep, your energy is disrupted, if you're having trouble when you go to digest things like cramps, IBS, for example, or low libido, like I mentioned earlier, are all signs that maybe there's some imbalance in the system. A healthy nervous system can then handle stressful situations and then come back to a state of calm. So if you feel like you're locked into a stressful place, or you go from 0 to 60 too quickly, this gives us a sign that there's imbalance on this. So where it should be balanced, the more you stress, it starts to push down on this side of the teeter-totter. And because these two are on a teeter-totter with one another, either we're primarily in our parasympathetic or primarily in our sympathetic nervous system, we know that too much of one is going to cause an imbalance in the other. So what we're focused on next is the way that we can start to balance this out, both in the short term and long term. So here we can slowly bring this back to a state of balance. So next, let's dive a little bit more into what you can do both in the moment short-term relief. So some kind of big stressors coming up, you feel stuck in the grips of that. And then also what you can do long-term to get your baseline stress level down. Think about if your baseline stress level from a day-to-day is somewhere at like 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 stress, it doesn't take very much to get you to 10 out of 10 where you're feeling completely out of control. If we can get that baseline level of stress down to maybe a 2 out of 10, a 1 out of 10, think about how much more capacity your nervous system will have in the day, and then also how much more balance you'll start to see in those rest and digest functions. The first tool I have for you is an acronym. So this RAISE acronym can be used both short-term and long-term. So whenever we're in stress, first thing we want to do is actually recognize that we're stressed. From there, we want to accept what's going on, that we're stressed, accept how we feel, not fight against ourselves, interrupt what's happening in one way, shape, or form, and we'll get to that. And then lastly, we want to elevate our state. We want to change the state that we're in so our body can now come at the situation with different set of chemicals on board, right? So whether it's short or long term, recognizing the stress is important. In the short term, usually we can recognize that we're stressed. Something big happened, someone spilled coffee on your jeans, or you slipped and fell, or someone sinister is coming towards you. That's pretty easy to recognize. Hey, I'm feeling a little bit stressed here. In the long term, it can be a little bit more tricky. Maybe you've been at your desk for 12 hours clamping away at the keyboard, and inside your body is very stressed, but we may have normalized that so much, whatever it is that you're doing, that you don't recognize the stress. And for those situations, it's important to really tune in and check in. We'll get to more tools about how we can recognize things, but to really first and foremost call it out, say, yep, I'm stressed. From there, one that we often think we should skip past, like maybe get into the positive thinking, right? Well, not so fast. We actually need to accept how we feel. So if I'm feeling particularly stressed out and I go, I don't want to feel stressed, I want to just feel really good, it creates tension inside. The more I resist what is in the present moment, the more tense I'll become about the stress, and the more anxiety, whatever situation I'm in, can develop as I move forward. Because if I go, I don't want to feel this stress from typing away on my keyboard, I just want to feel happy, I might start to create anxiety about coming back to my keyboard, because keyboard equals anxiety, and I don't like stress. So first and foremost, we need to accept it. We need to say, all right, you know what? I'm going to just honor how I feel, and I'm going to acknowledge that even though I've been typing away on my keyboard for a while, I'm okay. I'm going to get through this. I'm okay. From there, we want to interrupt what's happening. For that, you can be as simple as taking a deep breath, stepping away from the keyboard, or even just going like, okay, I'm stressed. I acknowledge it. Interrupt it. And lastly, we want to elevate your state. And that can look like a variety of things, but we'll get into some tools specifically to help shift your state in the moment while you're feeling the stress, so that you can come out of the whole thing ooh, before you get back to your work, you feel a bit elevated, you feel happier, you feel more joyful, you feel more expanded. For starters, let's walk through this step by step, shall we? To recognize our state, one thing I love to use, a tool for you to use, is the emotional scale. Let's go to that now. Now, the emotional scale comes to us from Abraham and Esther Hicks, and I love this as a tool for recognition of our state because it spans 22 common states of emotion that we might find ourselves in. And at the top of this scale, we have empowerment, we have joy, all the things that we want to feel in the course of the day, right? But then as we kind of come down the emotional scale, right before we switch into that place between the fight or flight and the rest and digest, everything above the line is basically in that safety, basically in that place of rest and digest. We feel really good. We're kind of in a more expanded place. Content and boredom is sort of where that line crosses. We switch over from being, pretty content with the situation as it is to a little bit of that I don't really like my circumstances. That's where the nervous system starts to become a little bit activated. It's picking up that you don't like your circumstances, something's not right here, time to go into scanning mode. And that's the very beginning of when the nervous system starts to make that shift. And if we don't catch it early on, this can slowly get more and more and more activated and even move into that place of overwhelm, where at the bottom of the emotional scale, we find hopelessness or feeling despair or feeling just completely apathetic to what's happening, like I'm giving up, right? So this can be a helpful tool. In the description field below, I'll link for you the full list of the emotional scale in a format that you can use as a screensaver on your phone if you so choose to do so. I like this as a tool, especially in the beginning when you're trying to get on top of stress and anxiety. Having that as a constant reminder to check in and notice where you're at can be so helpful. So again, a link in the description field below. I encourage you to download one for free and just have that as a helpful tool for recognition. So once we recognize and accept where we're at, then what? How do we actually move into a place of acceptance? How do we start to feel okay with where we're at when it doesn't feel very good, right? If you acknowledge, I'm feeling really hopeless right now, that doesn't feel particularly good. It's hard sometimes to accept that. So what we do to actually help our body to feel acceptance is another tool for you, tapping. Tapping is one of my favorite things to do. And we'll dive in now to why. Now, tapping, also known as emotional freedom technique, is a form of acupressure that you can simply and quickly apply to any situation you find yourself in when you're below the line in the emotional scale. To do tapping, we always start with the acceptance piece of what's happening. So to give you a quick little demonstration, I am going to take the example of, say I've been sitting in my office, I've been working all day, it's getting close to the end of the day. Over lunch, I didn't really get away. I ate my lunch over my computer. I didn't get a whole lot of a break. People keep coming to me and interrupting my flow throughout the day. I feel a little peeved about it. And now here I am at the end of the day. I have a lot left to do and just feeling pressed for time that I've got to get it done. Perhaps you might relate to something like this, but know that even if this isn't your circumstance, take the same exact technique and apply it over to exactly what you're feeling. So in this case, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling stressed. So I might start with tapping, this what they call the karate chop point. Take 3 fingers and I tap here. And I say to myself out loud or in my mind, even though I'm feeling overwhelmed and stressed, I'm okay. Even though I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling pressed, I'm feeling irritated, I'm just gonna choose to honor how I feel. And you just basically line out what you're feeling and that you're okay, that you're going to honor how you feel. From there, we move into tapping different acupressure points on the body. I'll demonstrate those for you, but basically we start with around where we focus on the negative feeling, the thing that we don't want to feel. Then I like to do one round where we're focused on how we might reframe some of these things that we're experiencing, how we might start to shift it a little bit from this idea that we're a victim, that life is happening to us, to maybe opening it up a little bit. Maybe it's possible that I am not a victim. Maybe it's possible that I can feel safe while the circumstance is playing itself out. And then if it's possible, we'll go one round past that into maybe the positive feeling that's available. Positive feeling that, we can't necessarily jump from hopeless to joy, right? But like maybe there's a better feeling that is available that then we can tap on. So for an example, using the same circumstance that we used before, I'll start with the point here on the inner eyebrow. Oh, I'm overwhelmed. All this overwhelm. Beside the eye, I'm feeling very stressed and overwhelmed. I'm so stressed. Below the eye, all the stress that I'm feeling. Upper lip, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling stressed. Overwhelm and stress. Lower lip, I'm feeling stressed that people have been interrupting me all day. I've got this big to-do list. I'm really worried I won't get it done. Right where the collarbone meets the sternum, a little groove there. I'm just afraid that I'm not going to get this done. I feel overwhelmed. I feel stressed, like I'm in a hurry. And then right kind of bra line on the side in the armpit, below the armpit. I feel overwhelmed, feeling stressed. Last point on top of the head, just behind where the ears are. I've been feeling overwhelmed. I feel it in my body. I'm feeling tense. I'm feeling a little stressed. Now the next round, start back at the inner eyebrow. Maybe it's possible I can get this work done and feel a little more at ease. Maybe it's possible that I could take some deeper breaths while I finish this work. Maybe it's possible that I could finish my day just breathing naturally and easily and relaxing my muscles. What if I finish this day and I can just be a little more at ease, a little more at peace? I'm doing the best that I can do, and that's all that I can do today. What if I can finish this work and feel safe? What if I can finish this work today and feel a little more at peace, a little more safe? What if I can get through the rest of today and just feel more peace, more ease in my body? What if I can do the rest of this and feel more at peace? If it's available, we just go a little step further. I think I'm doing a really good job. I'm actually pretty proud of the work that I've already done today. Oh gosh, I'm actually doing a really good job today. I'm really proud of myself. Even with all these interruptions, hey, I've done a pretty good job. I'm feeling really good about what I've already accomplished. It'd be pretty exciting to see the rest of my to-do list crossed off. But when I'm at peace, it's okay. If a little bit needs to be left for tomorrow, so be it. I trust in myself to do the rest of this work and be relaxed and treat myself nicely as I do it. I'm finishing my work. I'm feeling better and better about myself as I do it. I'm doing a pretty good job. I'm really proud of my work. I'm really satisfied with what I've done so far. I'm really proud of myself for taking the time to just check in and get myself feeling a little bit better while I finish this work. I'm confident that the rest of it's going to go so much more smoothly. Take a deep breath in. And let it all out. And that's a basic round of tapping. There are so many good YouTube channels dedicated to tapping, so I guarantee no matter what it is that you're dealing with, you could find something where it's well guided. A couple of my favorite people are Brad Yates and Sandra Inman, who both have tapping channels that perhaps you can use if you're in the heat of the moment and you don't know what to say for yourself. But even if you're in the moment and you don't know what to say, you could literally just go through it. I'm feeling overwhelmed, but I'm okay. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I choose to just honor how I feel. And even if you didn't know, just go through the tapping points. The tapping motion on the body helps to stimulate the nervous system and give sensory input that tells the nervous system sensation is okay, I'm okay. Hey, and it starts to calm things down and put you more towards the rest and digest. It's a way of stimulating this more vagal nerve response in the body. So even if you don't know what to say, if you just go through the motions of tapping, you will start to move towards that rest and digest. And maybe you're in a moment where you can't do a full round of tapping, so just do the best that you can do. Maybe you can just massage the point while something's going on with other people in the office. Like, all right, even though I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm okay. You can think this in your mind. So you start utilizing tapping. I bet if you use tapping every day for the next 7 to 14 days, you'll start to see how you can make it work for yourself, how you can make it work in your lifestyle or whatever you've got going on in your day-to-day, and just start moving yourself up that emotional scale to where your baseline now is a little bit higher each and every day that you do it. Because we think about that teeter-totter, the rest and digest and the fight and flight, they're like muscles. If we're working one out every day, we're working out that fight and flight muscle, you're gonna be really strong. Your body gets really efficient at stressing out. You get really good at it, it's your go-to. And if you, on the other side, aren't really working out your rest and digest functions, that's gonna be a little bit weaker. It's gonna be harder to access it. But by starting to implement the tapping in your day-to-day life, you're working out that muscle, and before you know it, it's going to be easier and easier and easier for you to access the emotions at the higher end of that scale. So instead of being like, hey, most days I feel pretty beat down, or most days I feel pretty tired or pretty low emotionally, you can transform that absolutely by starting to work out that vagus nerve and starting to build tone in that side of your nervous system. Next, I've got another tool for you. So in that same vein of working out our rest and digest nervous system a little bit every single day to slowly build tone and work your baseline up the emotional scale, here are a few tools for you that you can implement on a daily basis. At the top of the list is a mindset piece. First, we have to set our priorities right. And for most women, I don't know about you, but certainly for myself, there's a tendency in the way I was taught how to be, that I put everyone else first and myself second. That you put everybody's needs first, you eat last, you make sure everyone gets taken care of before you actually check in with how you're feeling and how you are being taken care of. And this is wrong. If you don't put on your own oxygen mask first, who's going to do that for you? Nobody. And it leads to feelings of resentment because other people aren't doing that for you. But I promise you are who you're waiting for. You are your own hero. You are the person who can love you and care for you the best. And you have to put yourself first. This might be uncomfortable to transition, and I know if you have really little children at home, this may be something that you've got to massage a little bit for yourself, or there may be unique circumstances where you're a caregiver or some kind of big thing is on your plate. But for the most part, most of us, it's pretty straightforward. We sometimes lack good boundaries and allow other people to come first for whatever reason. And you are always gonna have feelings of anxiety and stress that make you feel like a victim if that's what you're doing. And truly, in that lower end of the emotional scale where we start to feel really contracted and pulled in, it's because we feel unsafe, because we feel like something outside of us is causing us reason to feel unsafe. And getting that priority right already puts you on your way to feeling more empowered. From there, when we recognize that a stressful situation is coming up, we can do what we talked about before, the tapping. But for those circumstances where it's kind of habitual, where maybe it's a blind spot, maybe we don't recognize, wow, I'm stressed most of the day, most days. That's where setting a timer can be really helpful. For me, I like the Lotus Bud app. You can find it, it's free, and you can set this really nice, low, kind of chill timer where periodically throughout the day, in the beginning, you might do as often as 15 minutes. But sometimes, setting to maybe every hour, and as soon as you hear that chime go off, it's a cue for you to go inside and just see, do I feel stressed? Do I feel activated? Do I feel overwhelmed? Where am I at on this emotional scale? And if you're below 8, you're in that more contracted emotional state, that's your opportunity to work out the rest and digest muscle, to build up your ability to feel more peace and happiness. So in that moment, you're typing away on the keyboard, the chime goes off, check in. Oh, I feel pretty tense. Like, hey, maybe I feel a little pessimistic right now, or I feel somewhere on that lower end of the emotional scale. Right then in that moment, you can do one of two things. One, you might just take a nice deep breath. Say you don't really have time to stop and tap, you might just take one nice deep breath. And then go back to work until the timer goes off again. If you have the freedom and you have the ability to just take a minute for yourself, do a quick round of tapping. The timer goes off, you're like, yeah, I feel stressed. Even though I feel stressed, I'm okay. I'm gonna honor how I feel. Go through the points. Take a deep breath and then go back to your work. And then wait, the timer goes off again. You scan in with yourself. If you're feeling great, ignore that timer. If you're feeling stressed, you're feeling below 8, go ahead, take the time for the self-care, because slowly but surely, you're gonna build that up to where you're just, every time you check in, you feel better and better and better. If you get to the place where the timer is going off multiple times in the hour and you're feeling good, time to make that timer go off less. Maybe you're up to an hour, maybe you're up to just like a couple times in the day, or one time at lunch where you're checking in because you're maintaining it for longer periods of time. You're starting to break free from the stress cycle, and that is exactly what we want. Also, one other thing that can help you, huge relief, is from daily meditation. A lot of people feel intimidated by meditation, but you don't need to be. It could be as simple as sitting in a comfortable chair with an upright spine, just breathing nice and relaxed and focusing your mind on any sensation, anything. It could be the feeling of your breath, it could be the feeling of your bottom on the floor, it could be the feeling of, the vibration or sensation between your eyebrows. That's one of my favorites to do while I'm sitting for meditation. And sitting every day, even 5 minutes, just sitting in this calm, quiet place, will slowly build up the strength of that parasympathetic nervous system, and it will slow your brain waves even. When we're in our normal, working away on the keyboard place, oftentimes our brain waves are pretty rapid. We're doing, our brain waves are in this, what they call beta state. When we feel relaxed, we feel at ease, when we're getting the best juicy inspiration in our day, we're usually in alpha or theta brain waves. Meditation is one place where we can actually practice that slowing of our brain waves. So while we're also working out that rest and digest side of the nervous system, you're also getting practice at controlling and changing your brain waves, which is just yet another way that we can optimize our health and our nervous system, keep our mental faculties for longer, age more gracefully. All of that can come from just a few minutes of meditation every day. Also, moving your body. Oh my goodness, there is nothing in the planet, no drug, no supplement. My years as a primary care provider, not a single antidepressant can flood your brain with as much serotonin or dopamine as exercise can, truly. If you're, however, in a place where you have been feeling stressed for a long period of time, it's good to do mindful exercise. So rather than just hopping on a treadmill and going balls to the wall and making yourself feel more stressed, it's better if we can do some kind of movement where our mind is like, we're calm, we're at peace, even if it's vigorous, even if you're doing some vigorous weightlifting or resistance training, or you're doing a little bit of cardio for yourself. See if you can make it mindful, because that will make it a little more helpful for our purposes and just as a regular routine way of regulating the nervous system. One added benefit of exercise as a way of bringing down our level of stress is because oftentimes it helps us to complete the stress cycle. So bosses came in the morning, yelled at you. You couldn't really say anything back because you want to keep your job, so you just stuffed it. He left, and you've been holding on to that inner fight or the inner flight, the part of you that wants to run away or get up and say, hey, you can't treat me like that. Maybe you've been holding on to it. When you go to exercise, it's an opportunity for you to actually get that held energy out of your body. If you wanted to run, you actually go for the run. All of a sudden, it's like, hey, that stuck energy in your nervous system has a place to go. And that can be so helpful for just dealing with things that come up in the day. Now, hopefully you don't need to be running away from anything like that on a daily basis. I'd encourage you to maybe look at your circumstances and see where you can set your priorities right. But in the immediate, where things happen and we do the best that we can in the moment, and maybe we held on to it, having that little bit of movement as an outlet can be huge. I encourage you to doesn't need to be crazy, just get something going for yourself on a regular basis. And then lastly, check in with your self-talk. So when we think about our neurotransmitters, the things that make us feel the best are usually dopamine and serotonin. Of course, we have other things like oxytocin, and we can even put that in here. But to improve our dopamine, which gives us a sense of reward, and it helps to bolster our motivation to do things. Dopamine, we can give ourselves a hit of dopamine anytime that we praise ourselves for a job well done. Now, how often are you doing your daily to-do list, and as you're checking things off, you're focused forward? Usually with anxiety, we're tripping about something that hasn't happened yet, right? So we're already thinking of the next thing and how we need to hurry and get it done. Oh my gosh, look at all that's left on my to-do list. I encourage you, as you're checking things off, to say, hey, I really like how you got that done. I really like how you did that. I even take it, a step further when I'm driving. I'm like, I really like how you handled that assertively on the road, or I really like how you did that. And trust me, it's not silly to talk to yourself. We all do it constantly. You might as well make it work for you. So anytime you have an opportunity to say like, hey, you actually did a really good job there. I like how you handled that peacefully, or I like how you took that time to take a nice deep breath when your timer went off. I'm really proud of you today. Do it. It will slowly build up that dopamine to where you have more motivation, more energy, and you just feel more jazzed about what you're doing in the day. Now for the serotonin piece, this feeling of satisfaction that we all want in our lives, I think that comes down to gratitude. When we can just say, maybe things could be better, but I'm so grateful for the job that I have. I'm so grateful for this as an opportunity for me to become a better person. I'm so grateful that I have teachings like this to refer to so that I can become more empowered in my life. I'm so grateful for this and that. And even building in a time of day where you just reflect on your gratitude. Now, when it comes to meditation, I'll also link below one of my favorite meditations so that you can go over for a little guided support. And part of that, the meditation that I'll share with you, is all about gratitude and really building that into your daily practice. So, you could get a twofer if you decide to, hey, I want to implement a little meditation for myself. Maybe I'll try this one out and also weave in a bit more of that serotonin and gratitude in my day. Now, I know this is a lot. So we're going to go into a little bit of a recap, and I'm going to give you some homework to get you started. So to recap, first we want to remember and use this RAISE acronym. Whenever we're, having a stressful moment, we first want to recognize I'm stressed. Where I'm at on the emotional scale, I'm stressed. Accept it. Okay, I feel stressed. I'm okay, and I can move up from here. It's possible I can move up from here. And go ahead and interrupt it. Maybe step away or pause what you're doing. Maybe just sigh or something to just, in your mind, in your nervous system, create a little bit of an interruption. And if you make it like a little bit of a sigh, in time, you'll condition your brain. Anytime you sigh, you just start to interrupt the stress. So a cool little trick you can use there. And then elevate your state. We want to change the state. So that's first, the recognition and acknowledging. If it's right now, oh my gosh, this big overwhelming thing is happening, I encourage you to use tapping. It's one of the coolest, quickest, easiest, most self-empowered tools that you can use. You don't rely on anybody else to do it. You can do it for yourself. Now, I'll remind you, there are a couple of really awesome tapping channels on YouTube for free. Brad Yates, Sandra Inman, they're a couple of my favorites. I'm sure there are so many more, so go find the channel that resonates with you, and I encourage you, give it a try once a day for the next 7 days. Tap on anything that seems to be in your world, any of the emotional level where you feel stuck. See if it helps to give you ease. See if it helps to open it up and get you to be moving up that scale. Now, that's for the now. Right now, I need it. Now, for the future me, things that we do that are self-care, that are for my future self to feel better, check your priorities. Again, check your priorities. See where you're putting other people first before yourself. The timer. So every time the timer goes off in the day, either tap or take a nice deep breath. Perhaps you decide to add some meditation to your day, just 5 minutes in the morning. Go shake your thing, shake that groove thing, get a little bit of mindful movement going for yourself. It helps to improve your serotonin, your dopamine, and also to complete the stress cycle. And self-talk, checking in at the ways that you could talk more kindly to yourself. Instead of saying, oh, you did this wrong. Oh, you did this wrong. I don't like that. I don't like this. Oh, I'm so stressed. How could you say, like, you did a really good job there. Good job. I love it. I love how you did that. Like, find ways that you can compliment yourself. Truly, it's helpful. And also ways that you can have gratitude for things. So where we might have the impulse to say, oh, that's not good enough. I don't like that. Just say, like, I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful at the same time. I might not be totally satisfied with that, but I'm also grateful for the ways that it does serve me in my life. Homework. I promised I'd give you some homework. We have that tapping. Give it a try every day for 7 days, 14 days, something like this. Give you enough time to really get it in your system and see how it treats you. On this other side, this is a lot. I do each one of these every day because I find that I love them. It makes me feel so good that I just do them automatically. They feel so that good. But for you, maybe all of these could use some help. So just pick one. Pick one that you want to implement every day for the next 30 days and just see how it treats you. Maybe it's just setting a timer and every time it goes off, you take a deep breath, and that is good enough. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get it all done. My work, I treat a lot of type A women, and I work with a lot of type A women, and we want to just get everything done and be perfect at it right out the gate. And that doesn't, we're working on relieving stress. We don't need to add more stress by trying to relieve our stress. Pick one thing and truly tell yourself good job when you do it. And the lower we set the bar sometimes, the easier it is to achieve things and the easier it is to gain momentum into winning. And so again, type A women, we want to set that bar so high and just be the best. Set it low, girl. Let yourself win. Let yourself feel what it feels like to win and work your way up that emotional scale. And then you just start ratcheting that bar a little bit up every single time. And that is self-love. We don't want self-discipline. We want self-reverence. We want self-love and self-respect. Let's transform that right away, because that will put you in that place where you feel empowered rather than disempowered. I hope that this has been helpful, and I'm confident if you apply these things, you are going to start seeing more balance in your nervous system. Which brings me to my final point. As we mentioned in the beginning of this conversation, those master controls of the body, the nervous system, you're working on that now. Watching this video, you've already started it. You have it in your awareness, and it's going to start transforming for you. Perhaps you have some imbalances with the hormonal system that's contributing to stress, or with the immune system, like your digestion, that's also contributing to your stress. If you are in a place where you need some strategy and you feel kind of overwhelmed, you don't know how to tackle all of this, that's where I come in. It is my passion and profession to help women across the country who are struggling with their energy, metabolism, and hormone balance to create more vitality and mind-body health using functional medicine, naturopathics, and Chinese medicine without the overwhelm, to create a customized step-by-step plan in which you can restore balance and empower yourself and feel fantastic, double your energy, and lose 10 pounds while you're doing it. If that sounds good for you, I'll also drop a link below. You're welcome to check out my program, Ageless Freedom, in which I do just that. I'll give you a step-by-step map based on your labs and lifestyle. All right, friends, I hope that this is just magic in your life. I'd love to hear how you found things. If there's anything that I missed, that it's just an amazing stress management technique, drop it in the comments below. And after you've applied these over the next week, 2 weeks, please come back and let us know how it went for you. For more videos like this, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. Take care.